What's up? I'm Lily. Revenge Crown brings you the stories that keep you hooked. If that sounds good, smash subscribe and let's go. At my wedding, surrounded by fairy lights and champagne, Mom announced, "The beach house his parents gave you will be transferred to your brother." My brother smirked. "It's just a vacation home." My husband's eyes met mine and he simply nodded once. That single nod told me everything I needed to know. We were on the same page. The toast continued around us. Mom raised her glass higher, her voice carrying across the reception hall. "To family. And to making sure things are distributed fairly among all my children." I smiled and raised my own glass. "To family," I echoed, my voice perfectly steady. David squeezed my hand under the table. We'd been married for exactly 43 minutes, and my mother had just announced her intention to steal property his parents had gifted us 3 years ago. The deed had both our names on it. The paperwork was ironclad. But Mom had never let legal details stop her before. My brother Chase clinked his glass against Mom's. "Thanks. Ma, I've always loved that place." "You've been there twice," I said mildly. "That's twice more than you deserve," Mom said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "You know how I feel about hoarding resources when your brother is struggling?" Chase was a commercial real estate agent who cleared $240,000 last year. David's father, Richard, appeared at our table. His expression was carefully neutral, but I caught the tension in his jaw. "Congratulations again, you two." "That was quite an announcement, Margaret." Mom waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, Richard, don't be dramatic. It's just a little beach cottage." "You have 3 other properties." "We have 3 other properties," Richard corrected gently. "The Sandpiper house belongs to David and Sarah, has since 2019, legally and irrevocably." "Well," Mom said, her voice taking on that saccharine tone I knew too well. "We'll see what Sarah's signature says when I explain how selfish she's being." I took a sip of champagne. "I won't be signing anything, Mom." Her face hardened. "We'll discuss this later." "This is your wedding day. You brought it up at my wedding," I pointed out. The reception continued. I danced with David, cut the cake, threw the bouquet. My smile never wavered. I'd learned years ago that showing emotion only gave Mom ammunition. At 10:47 p.m., as guests were filtering out, Mom cornered me near the coat check. Chase stood beside her, his expression smug. "I've already spoken to a lawyer," Mom said. "Since the house was a gift during your relationship but before marriage, it's not marital property. You have no legal standing to refuse transferring your portion to family." "Interesting theory," I said. "Who's your lawyer?" "Gerald Simpkins. He's handled the family estate for years." Gerald Simpkins, who'd been disbarred in 2021 for mishandling client funds. "I checked 6 months ago when Mom first started making noises about the beach house." "I see. Well, I hope Gerald's advice serves you well." Mom's eyes narrowed. "Don't be difficult, Sarah. You've always been the difficult one." "I'm going to finish saying goodbye to my guests," I said. "Enjoy the rest of your evening." I walked away. Behind me, I heard Chase say, "She come around." "She always does." They were wrong. But they wouldn't know that for another 72 hours. David and I left for our honeymoon in Portugal on Monday morning. Before we boarded the plane, I made 3 phone calls. The first was to Jennifer Park, the attorney who'd handled our estate planning when David's parents gifted us the Sandpiper house. She'd been expecting my call. "Your mother contacted the county registrar Friday afternoon," Jennifer told me. "She tried to file a claim against the property. The clerk rejected it because she has no legal standing, but she's persistent. Can she cause real problems?" "She can try. I've already filed a restraining notice with the county. Any attempted changes to the deed will trigger an immediate alert to my office. I've also prepared cease and desist paperwork. When she realizes she can't win, she's going to make everyone around her miserable. Are you ready to get out?" "I have $4,300 saved," Melissa whispered. "I've been looking at apartments, but I can't afford first, last, and security on my salary. David and I will cover it. We'll co-sign if needed. But you have to be ready to actually leave." "Why are you doing this?" "Because someone should have helped me leave at 23, I said. "Because you deserve better than being Mom's emotional support human," Melissa was crying. "Okay, yes, I'm ready." We boarded our flight. For 11 days, I didn't think about my mother, my brother, or the beach house. David and I explored Lisbon, drank wine in Porto, walked along the Algarve coast. I turned off my phone except for brief check-ins with Jennifer. Each check-in brought new information. Day 3. Mom tried to access the property with a locksmith, claiming she'd lost her keys. The locksmith verified ownership first and refused service. Day 5. Chase posted on social media about family betrayal and the greed of ungrateful siblings. 47 people commented. Most knew our family dynamics and supported me. Day 7. Mom hired a new lawyer. This one was actually licensed and immediately told her she had no case. Day 9. The cease and desist letter was delivered. Mom called Jennifer's office 14 times in 6 hours. Jennifer's paralegal documented every call. Day 11. We flew home. The real confrontation happened on a Tuesday afternoon, 16 days after my wedding. Mom had called a family meeting at her house. The email went to me, Chase, Melissa, and notably, David's parents. She'd CC'd her new lawyer, Thomas Brenman. We all showed up. I'd told Jennifer we were going and she'd advised us to record everything. David had his phone in his shirt pocket, audio recording running. Mom sat at the head of the dining room table like a CEO chairing a board meeting. Chase sat to her right, arms crossed. Melissa looked like she wanted to disappear into the wallpaper. Thomas Brenman sat to Mom's left, a leather portfolio in front of him. He looked deeply uncomfortable. Richard and Linda sat beside David and me. Linda had her own leather portfolio. Thank you all for coming, Mom began. We're here to resolve this beach house situation rationally, and as a family. There's nothing to resolve, I said calmly. The house belongs to David and me. The deed is clear. The house was given to you under false pretenses, Mom said. Richard and Linda were trying to buy their way into our family. Richard's eyebrows rose. That's a fascinating interpretation of a generous wedding gift. It wasn't a wedding gift, Chase interjected. They weren't even engaged yet. It was an engagement gift, David said quietly. Given 6 weeks after I proposed. The paperwork is dated and notarized. That's irrelevant, Mom said. What matters is fairness. I have 2 children. Both should benefit equally from family resources. The Sandpiper house isn't a family resource, Linda said. Her voice was pleasant but firm. It's our property which we chose to gift to our son and daughter-in-law. Your children have no claim to property we own. Sarah is my daughter, which gives you exactly 0 rights to property given to her by other people, Thomas Brenman interrupted. He looked at Mom apologetically. Mrs. Morrison, I've explained this multiple times. You have no legal standing. None. Mom's face flushed. Then I'll contest the gift on grounds of undue influence. You weren't involved in the transaction, Thomas said. You can't contest it. I'm contesting on behalf of my daughter who was clearly manipulated. I'm sitting right here, Mom, I said. And I wasn't manipulated. I was given a generous gift by my in-laws, which I accepted gratefully and legally. You're being selfish, Chase said. You know I've always wanted a beach house. Then buy one, David suggested. Your last commission check was $28,000. Save up. Chase's face reddened. That's none of your business. You made Sarah's gift your business, David replied. Mom slammed her hand on the table. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You've turned my daughter against her own family. No one turned me against anyone, I said. I'm simply maintaining boundaries around my property. After everything I've done for you. Let's talk about that, I interrupted. My voice stayed level. I rehearsed this. Let us talk about the dollar. $15,000 you borrowed from me for Chase's business venture in 2018, the business that failed in 6 months. The loan you never repaid. Mom's mouth opened. Let us talk about the car you convinced me to co-sign for Chase in 2016. The car he totaled, uninsured, leaving me with $8,200 in debt that destroyed my credit for 3 years. That was an accident, Chase started. Let's talk about my college fund, I continued. The one Grandma set up. The $42,000 that mysteriously became $8,000 when I graduated high school because you needed to borrow it for Chase's legal fees. The room went silent. I have documentation, I said. Bank statements, loan papers, emails. Linda helped me compile everything last year when we were doing our estate planning. Linda opened her portfolio and slid a thick folder across the table. Thomas Brennan picked up the folder. His expression shifted from uncomfortable to appalled as he flipped through pages. "This isn't about the money," Mom said weakly. "You're right," I agreed. "It's about pattern. It's about you deciding Chase deserves everything and I deserve whatever's left over. It's about you treating me like a resource to be mined rather than a daughter to be loved. I have always loved you. You've loved what I could provide," I said. Financial bailouts, emotional labor, a scapegoat when things went wrong. But actual love? Actual support? I can't remember the last time you offered either without strings attached. Melissa spoke up, her voice shaking. "She's right, Mom." Everyone turned to look at her. "She's right," Melissa repeated, stronger now. "You do this to both of us." Sarah just figured out how to stop it first. "Melissa, honey. I'm moving out," Melissa said. "Sarah's helping me. I start my new job Monday, and I'll be in my own apartment by the end of the month." Mom looked like she'd been slapped. "This is what you've done," she said, staring at me. "You've poisoned your sister against me. You've turned this family into—" "Mrs. Morrison," Thomas Brennan interrupted. He closed the folder and stood up. "I'm withdrawing as your counsel. I don't take cases with no legal merit, and I especially don't take cases where the client has demonstrably been the financial aggressor. You owe your daughter approximately $73,000. She could sue you. She probably should sue you. And you're sitting here demanding she give you a house worth $1.2 million. He picked up his portfolio. "My bill for services rendered will arrive within 30 days. I strongly suggest you apologize to your daughters and get family counseling." He left. The silence that followed was broken only by the sound of Mom's breathing, sharp and angry. "You've ruined this family," she said finally. "No," I said. "I've just stopped letting you ruin me." We left shortly after. Richard and Linda followed us out, leaving Mom and Chase sitting at the table. In the parking lot, Melissa caught up to us. She was crying, but she was smiling too. "Thank you," she said. "I couldn't have done that alone." "You're not alone anymore," I told her. Over the next 6 weeks, several things happened. Melissa moved into a one-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood. David and I co-signed the lease and covered her security deposit. She started therapy and began blocking Mom's calls during work hours. Mom tried to contact me 147 times across all platforms. Calls, texts, emails, Facebook messages, Instagram DMs. I blocked her on all of them after the first 23. She showed up at my workplace twice. Security escorted her out both times. Jennifer sent another cease and desist letter. Chase started a whisper campaign telling extended family I'd stolen from Mom and manipulated Melissa. 3 cousins called to get my side of the story. When I sent them the financial documentation, 2 apologized. 1 blocked me. I considered that a win. David's parents had the locks changed at the Sandpiper house and installed a security system. Mom tried to visit once. The police informed her she was trespassing. Jennifer advised me to consider filing for repayment of the $73,400. I thought about it for a long time. In the end, I decided against it. "It's not about the money," I told David one night. We were sitting on the deck of the Sandpiper house, watching the sunset over the ocean. "If I sue her, she gets to be the victim. She gets to tell everyone I'm the cruel daughter who took her to court." "She's already telling everyone you're cruel," David pointed out. "Let her," I said. "The people who matter know the truth. The people who don't believe me were never going to be on my side anyway. So we just let it go. We protect what's ours," I said. "We help Melissa build a new life. We build our own life. And we let Mom live with the consequences of pushing away both her daughters." David put his arm around me. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." 3 months after my wedding, Mom sent a letter. Not an email or a text, but an actual letter, handwritten on her expensive stationery. Mom, Sarah, I've had time to think about everything that's happened. I realize now that I may have been too harsh. Family should forgive family. I'm willing to put all of this behind us if you are. Your brother is going through a difficult time financially. He's made some poor investments and needs help. I know you and David are doing well. Perhaps we could discuss a small loan to help Chase get back on his feet. Nothing major, maybe $30,000 to start. I love you, and I know you love your family. Let's move past this unpleasantness. Mom, I read it twice. Then I read it to David. She didn't apologize once, he observed. No, I agreed. She said she may have been too harsh. That's not an apology. That's a minimization. And the loan request is exactly what this was always about. I finished. She's not sorry. She's just recalculating her approach. I put the letter in my filing cabinet next to all the other documentation. Then I drafted a response. Mom, I've received your letter. I'm not interested in providing loans to Chase. I'm not interested in resuming a relationship that requires me to fund other people's choices. If you'd like to work on building a genuine relationship based on mutual respect and boundaries, I'm open to family therapy with a licensed professional. If not, I wish you well, but I won't be responding to future requests for money. Sarah, I never sent it. In the end, silence felt more powerful. 6 months after my wedding, Melissa came over for dinner. She looked different, lighter somehow. She'd started dating someone, a teacher she'd met at her new job. She talked about her work with actual enthusiasm instead of dread. Mom called yesterday, she mentioned casually, passing me the salad. Asked if I could talk sense into you about family obligations. What did you say? I said I'd learned what real family obligations look like, and they don't include funding Chase's lifestyle. She grinned. Then I hung up. How did that feel? Terrifying, Melissa admitted. Also amazing. David raised his glass. To terrifying and amazing, we clinked glasses. Later that night, after Melissa left, David and I walked down to the beach. The Sandpiper house glowed behind us, every window warm with light. Do you think she ever really apologized? David asked. I thought about it. No, that would require her to admit she was wrong. That would require her to see Chase and me as equal. That would require her to value relationships more than control. Does that make you sad? Sometimes, I admitted. But mostly I just feel free. I spent 31 years trying to be enough for her. Trying to prove I deserve love without conditions. It's exhausting carrying that weight. And now? Now I know I deserve love all along. Her inability to give it unconditionally says everything about her and nothing about me. We stood there in the sand, waves rolling in steady and eternal. Above us, stars emerged one by one in the darkening sky. I thought about Mom, probably sitting in her house, angry that her children had slipped beyond her control. I thought about Chase, probably calling her to complain about his latest financial crisis. I thought about the years I'd spent trying to fix them, save them, prove myself to them. Then I thought about Melissa, laughing in her own apartment, building her own life. I thought about David's parents, who'd given me a gift with no strings attached because they simply wanted us to be happy. I thought about the life David and I were building, brick by brick, choice by choice. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel obligated. I felt something I'd never quite felt before, at peace with my own boundaries, content with my own choices. Certain that protecting my peace wasn't selfish, it was survival. The beach house stood behind us, solid and real and legally, irrevocably ours. Mom couldn't take it. Chase couldn't guilt me into giving it up. And I would never again apologize for refusing to set myself on fire to keep them warm. Ready to go in?
David asked. Yeah, I said.
I'm ready. We walked back up the beach together, leaving no footprints the tide wouldn't wash away.